A young architect from Paris named Paul Carrier won a travel grant and came to Rio de Janeiro. He explains.
I chose to go to Brazil because of its architecture and engineering. Here, these disciplines are among the most advanced in the world. There's much I have to see and learn.
John Ryder also won a travel grant. He lives in New York. Paul and John studied together at Harvard University. The travel grant brought them together in Rio, where they planned to meet each other in the showroom at Desenvolvimento Engenharia.
This mammoth project of Oscar Niemeyer is exciting. It is marvelous. He really is a genius, worshipped by most architecture students in the US.
Yes, it is incredible how Brazilian architects and engineers can make any shape out of reinforced concrete. Look, for example, the Maracanã Stadium, the Cathedral of Brasilia, the national monument for World War II dead. Brazilians can make poems out of concrete. Poems!
Ryder and Carrier traveled together to Barra da Tijuca, a newly designed neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro's West Zone, to visit the showroom. They want to know everything about Centro da Barra, the epicenter of the new plans. When they arrive, the salesman in the showroom explains the project to them.
Centro da Barra was designed by the genius architect Oscar Niemeyer. It will consist of 70 residential towers surrounded by 400,000 square meters of tropical gardens designed by the landscape architect World Expo. A newly built canal will give residents the opportunity to make boat rides in the lagoons of Barra. Besides, 10 office buildings and service flats with 28 floors each, 4 yacht clubs and 2 commercial centers will be provided. There will be restaurants, bars, supermarkets, boutiques, cinemas, theaters, and beauty centers. Everything that can make life more comfortable. Social services will be provided as well. A community center, a daycare, several churches, etc. We are selling much more than only apartments and shops. We are introducing a new way of life, a new concept of existence.
The megalopolis, as foreseen by futurologists, is a threat to human beings. Its aggressive surrounding violates every individual. Big cities are like anthills. They cause neurotic behavior and produce clients for psychiatric clinics. For example, in the United States, in cities like New York, psychiatry became a lucrative business. The individual is reduced to a granule in the human mass, a man without a face. This is also happening here in Brazil in big cities like Rio and São Paulo, where neurosis, pollution, and depersonalization absorb, grind, and kill individuals.
In the vast urban agglomerates, people seem to suffer from asphyxia. They fight each other over space, inch by inch. Everybody's glued to one another, wall to wall, window to window. It is against this anarchical growth and inhumanity that Oscar Niemeyer rebelled. As an alternative, he designed the pilot plan for Barra da Tijuca.
Tell me, will Centro da Barra be completed in 10 years' time?
Brasilia was built in 5 years. Centro da Barra will be constructed in less time. Many companies have committed themselves to the realization of these plans. Besides Desenvolvimento Engenharia, you have Montreal Engenharia, Companhia Metropolitana de Construções, Cavalcante Junqueira, Cristiano Nielsen, and Adolfo Lindenberg. It is the largest group of construction companies ever formed in Brazil, a true pact of giants.
So many.
Brazil will become big. The government sets example, the corporations follow. We cannot wait any longer. Since we won the World Cup, the economic growth started, and we intend to keep the cup.
Oh yeah, Pelé. I'm looking forward to watching him play again.
You don't have to wait so long. Next year, we celebrate 150 years of Brazilian independence. And a mini World Cup will take place in Maracanã Stadium. Did you know that our president is one of the most enthusiastic spectators?
A helicopter lands near the showroom in Centro da Barra.
Go on, Paul and John. It's your turn. Sea, sand, dunes, swamps, lagoons, mountains. God combined all good things in Barra da Tijuca with a little help of man. It is a delight for the eyes and a peaceful place for body and spirit. There you see the Joa Tunnel, and over there the Two Brothers Tunnel, and further on the Pepino Tunnel. Look at the autostrada along the ocean. It is the Lagoa Barra.
The freeway, you mean?
Yes, in Brazil we call it autostrada. Coming from Leblon, it's a 7 minutes ride to Centro da Barra. It's 17 minutes from the center of the city.
Flamengo, Botafogo, Copacabana, Ipanema, Leblon, all transformed into concrete jungles.
What a beautiful place to live.
It is the same trend as in the United States and Europe. People prefer living 20 or 30 minutes away from the hectic city center. But in Rio, this paradise is much nearer. Forgive my pretension, but we like to say that God is Brazilian.
The helicopter circles around the sea, mountains, lagoons, and overland. They both look fascinated. The helicopter lands. John Ryder, Paul Cartier, and the salesman go back to the showroom. John and Paul start collecting all the pamphlets and folders.
My colleagues in New York have to see this.
I'm taking enough material to show the plans to my students in Paris. The simplicity of Nehemiah's plans is astonishing. He's a genius.
A New Way of Living by Oscar Niemeyer and Burle Marx, the greatest names of Brazilian architecture. They joined hands to build the first integrated district of Latin America and Guanabara. Paul Cartier takes a lot of pictures of the maquette. It is click, click all the time.
The population that will occupy Barra Center is estimated around 100,000 people. And we expect that the commercial center will have 1 million customers a year, as it will also care for the neighboring districts, including the north and south zones of Rio. The vast parking areas in the commercial center will provide Cariocas with the facilities they lack as a consequence of the congested traffic in the urban center and other overcrowded districts. So it will be easier for them to come to Centro da Barra than to park their cars in Copacabana.
This is great. Who made all of the structural calculations?
Professor Paulo Fragoso, an international famous engineer. He also made the calculations for Maracanã Stadium, the head office of the state of Guanabara Bank, the Avenida Central building, the De Paulo building, and Brasilia's television tower with 202 meters.
Did you say that 100,000 people could live in Centro da Barra?
Yes, I did. And the social impacts of the undertaking are enormous. Centro da Barra will create fantastic employment opportunities, attracting construction professionals of all levels and specialties, and providing jobs for the population of Jacarepaguá and Cidade de Deus. 2,000 people are already directly or indirectly connected with the construction of Centro da Barra. Two of the greatest industries of the state of Guanabara are interlinked here: the real estate development and the tourist industry. The number of jobs that will be created by the commercial center is fabulous. The estimations are 30,000 jobs.
At Centro da Barra, nature is all yours. The sea, the mountains, the fresh air, the free space, 400,000 square meters of Burle Marx gardens, the whole of nature for your family. A piece of the sea for whoever gets there first. The Atlantic Ocean is right there, right before you with open arms. At this point, engineer Roberto Seixas, of Desenvolvimento Engenharia arrives, who volunteers to help the two young visiting architects with their hunger for information.
Centro da Barra is a rational solution created by Niemeier's inventiveness, so that man may take his place in nature without committing aggression against it and without suffering aggression from it. Man and environment live together. In modern times, a home is no longer just a protection or shelter. That was something cavemen did. Nowadays, it's not only about the occupation of physical spaces in accordance to the biological necessities of the human being, who must eat, rest, and sleep. For modern city planners who look at tomorrow, the concept of living does not stop at the doorstep or the apartment walls. It goes beyond the dwelling, just as our senses go beyond our body. On the other hand, space for city planners is not measured in square meters only. Here in Barra da Tijuca, we are surrounded by nature. The sky, the mountains, the lagoons, the sea, with 20 kilometers of almost virgin beach of snow-white sand. An ideal place for a project of a genius. Could you help me with this map, please? Okay.
Ryder and Cartier follow Roberto's finger, pointing on a map.
Here, a new concept of living in an integrated city is being introduced. The concept is new because apartments got rid of this abominable classification of front and back apartments, front and back rooms. We don't have the difference between brighter or less bright apartments, ventilated or non-ventilated rooms. In Centro da Barra, we will no longer be able to qualify apartments by their position within the tower. All the apartments will have equal lighting and ventilation. This is all part of Niemeier's rational and pragmatic concept, whose point of departure was the most perfect form that exists. The circle.
It is the trademark of a genius.
True, the circles are divided in segments of different sizes.
We have apartments from 51 square meters to 346 square meters, according to the number of models. Okay, let's go. Come on. The circumference of a circle has existed for thousands of years. But Niemeyer had to appear or use its 360 degrees in an architectonic project. Where did the inspiration come from, one might ask? Well, it is difficult to identify or reveal its source. Perhaps it is be found in the nature itself. Nature permanently builds and rebuilds itself in accordance to the circle. Look at the fruits. They grow oval and round. Look at the tree trunks. A nucleus, a circle. The sea, whenever possible, opens into circular bays and coves. Mountains roll, casting their silhouettes against the sky. It seems as if nature avoids edges and tends towards curves. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm drifting off, forgetting that I'm talking to experts, to architects.
No, it was splendid. An almost poetical explanation, and the logical one. But you referred to an integrated city?
Yes, this is the largest and most daring undertaking of its kind in the whole world. Centro da Barra does not offer only residential buildings. It also provides other essential services like recreation, entertainment, sports, religion, culture, and a shopping center. The church and the school, the theater and the cinema, the swimming pool and the bar, the daycare. There are 4 yacht clubs, service stations, garages with 201 parking spaces for each tower. Here, the pedestrian is not disturbed by vehicles, and no one needs to fight over a parking space. The commercial center splits Centro da Barra in a transversal line to the sea. Its distance from the residential tower is long enough to prevent the center's noise disturbing the inhabitants of the towers, and near enough to allow them to go there on foot. This shopping center, the largest in Latin America, will have about 350 diversified shops. It was conceived with a capacity to serve 100,000 people from Centro da Barra and the rest of Barra da Tijuca, and even for people from Jacarepaguá, Gávea, Leblon, Ipanema, and Copacabana. Altogether, for 1 million people. In Centro da Barra, people can have pleasure and amusement while they go out for shopping. They will find their way here because the freeway connects them within a few minutes from the South Zone as well as from the North Zone suburbs, free from parking problems. And this is important because in the non-planned cities, this can be a terrible plight. Here, nothing was forgotten. Even the telephone and the automatic central laundry are provided for. And there is a private generator for emergencies. Everything is designed with the residents' comfort in mind.
John Ryder is making a circle with his finger, pointing at the maquette.
Is this the integrated city?
Roberto Seixas is pointing to an official map of the state of Guanabara, including Centro da Barra.
It is all of this plus the new way of living together with nature. Just imagine, Carrier, that you have one boat in one of the 4 yacht clubs. You can sail over the Blue Canal, passing all residential towers. You can sail around the Boulemart's tropical gardens, go to Marapendi and the Tijuca lagoons, and then go out to the sea.
The sea is crystal clear blue.
Paul Cartier looks outside the window at the sea and the beach.
Pure, clean sea. They refuse big industries to settle here, and the sewage system that will be installed will be not pollute the beaches like it is the case in the rest of Rio. Here the sea only will be touched by the sun, the sand, and the bodies of the people who take a dive and eat. On the beaches, fresh juices will be sold like a banana, manguava, kiwi, melancia, etc.
Ryder and Cartier praise Brazilian fruits.
Well, at least here in this part of the city, the problem of pollution is being solved.
Yes, there will be no pollution in the water or in the air brought about by the chimneys of the factories and low-placed incinerators. Carrier, the government of the state of Guanabara is giving Barra an infrastructure that makes it possible for the state to fulfill Rio's purpose, that of being the city of tourism. One of the most urgent public works was the freeway over which you just rolled in a car and flown over in a helicopter. It is 80% finished. The urban planning of Barra progresses very fast. It is in the interest of the state and the rest of Brazil. It is the development of tourism, an industry that your countries cultivate so well, but we are learning, and sometimes we are learning through our own mistakes. Think of it. The South Zone was once a good place to live in. Copacabana, Botafogo, Flamengo were clean, respectable, and attractive suburbs. With the lack of city planning came disorder, real estate anarchy, and ill-designed skyscrapers. Lack of empty space, of air holes, of lungs that enable the districts to breathe. The result became the jungle of reinforced concrete that exists in São Paulo as well. The South Zone is history. Now, the real Rio is in Centro da Barra, controlled, beautiful, modern, daring, and clean. It is the new postcard of Guanabara.
No audio pollution, no visual pollution, no urban pollution or industrial pollution. Here, life is pure, happy, and colorful. Only the sea has the right to break through the silence.
Yes, my young architects. Here is the integrated city of Centro da Barra. We are already building Rio 2000 30 years in advance. An undertaking of this magnitude could not happen but in a country where there is a political stability, where the house is in order.
Well, we are leaving. We're going to the airport right away.
A tropical sunset gilds the sea, the mountain, and the lagoon of this part of paradise, called Centro da Barra.
Pleasant journey, John Reiter. Pleasant journey, Paul Carrier. And come back soon to see Centro da Barra up there in the skies.
Centro da Barra, the great flight of your life.